like, it is an interesting one. Like, it is a very, very interesting one. When it comes to the growth of the league. But it's nice to see a Lisa Leslie seeing something good and then actually talking about it in like a podcast.
Have you heard Lisa Leslie's recent comments on Caitlin Clark? It has sparked substantial debate in the WNBA. The basketball legend surprised everyone by praising Clark as a revolutionary force in women's basketball. However, this is where it gets very interesting. Not everyone is excited about it. Certain WNBA luminaries are outraged, claiming that Clark has taken their status. You may be wondering why they are in difficulty. Prepare to engage in the acrimonious topic that is now hurting the WNBA.
Talked about. And I think the WNBA did such a poor job.
Unbelievable incidents have occurred in the world of women's basketball. Lisa Leslie, yes, the Lisa Leslie, has now made a shocking disclosure about Caitlin Clark that has captivated the nation. You might be wondering, who's Lisa Leslie? Well, let me tell you, she's not just any player. She's a basketball legend, a WNBA superstar who's won everything. Championships, Olympic medals, you name it.
They weren't trying to uplift the legends. They weren't trying to do that type of stuff.
Lisa Leslie is the type of player that other athletes look up to, so when she speaks, people pay attention. And what does she say about Caitlin Clark? It is sending shockwaves through the whole WNBA community. Leslie called Clark a game changer in women's basketball. Could you imagine? It's as if Michael Jordan unexpectedly appeared and cheered a rookie NBA player. That's how huge this is. But here's where things get really interesting. Leslie didn't just say Clark was a great player. She also praised her impact on the WNBA.
So Lisa Leslie is one of the greatest female basketball players of all time. I don't think anyone is really going to question that one because, well, she's Lisa. Like, she was good enough that she was in Uncle Drew as far as I'm aware.
You might ask why this is such a big deal. Think about it. When a legend like Lisa Leslie says someone is changing the game, it means something. This isn't empty praise. It's recognition that Caitlin Clark is doing something unique, something that is shaking up the entire sport. And guess what? Leslie is not the only person who thinks this way. Fans and other players are joining in, appreciating Leslie, this legendary basketball player, for recognizing the younger generation. It's as if she's passing the torch, exclaiming, "Hey, this new player is taking our sport to new heights."
And obviously, Lisa Leslie, wow, the impact of Caitlin Clark has really been a game changer. Love it. And throughout this whole thing, Lisa Leslie is just, I mean, saying it like it is.
Now, you may be wondering, okay, but is Caitlin Clark really that good? Lisa Leslie assures us that she is. And when a player with Leslie's track record says anything like this, it is taken seriously. This isn't just hype. A basketball veteran recognizes actual skill and effect when she sees it. You're undoubtedly wondering, okay, Lisa Leslie is on board, but what about the other WNBA legends? Well, buckle up because this is where things get tricky. It's like a full-fledged civil war has erupted among the greats of women's basketball, and you won't believe who is leading the charge against Caitlin Clark.
Lisa Leslie had been pro-Caitlin the entire year. Heck, Angel McCautry was pro-Caitlin. I said Caitlin? Caitlin. We've got, like, Cynthia Cooper was extremely pro-Caitlin.
On one side, we have athletes like Cynthia Cooper and Angel McCautry who support Lisa Leslie's admiration for Caitlin Clark. They are all about supporting the next generation and appreciate what Clark is doing for the game. Cooper and McCautry are beaming, talking about how terrific it is to see young players like Clark stirring things up and bringing more attention to women's basketball. But here's where things get really interesting. On the opposite side, we have Cheryl Swoops, who is not happy at all. Swoops has been open about her concerns about Clark, and tensions are building.
One thing when it comes to, a lot of people are talking about how, you know, even throughout the season, how a lot of like the WNBA legends, how a lot of these people didn't embrace Caitlin Clark and they were very anti-Caitlin Clark.
Cheryl Swoops is concerned that the hype surrounding Caitlin Clark is overshadowing other WNBA stars who have been working hard for years. Swoops isn't keeping her thoughts to herself. She's out in the open, expressing her opinions. Can you believe it? These are guys that were formerly colleagues and fought side by side on the floor, but are now separated over one rookie. This is no longer simply about basketball. It is about respect, legacy, and who will shape the future of women's basketball. The tension is so intense that you can feel it through your screen.
And I actually think because Cheryl Swoops was the most vocal one, Cheryl Swoops was the one that was being put forward by the WNBA, I think that made it more of an issue.
And get this, it's no longer simply Swoops versus Clark. The media has jumped all over this, making Swoops the face of the anti-Clark campaign. People are now imagining that other legends are unhappy by Clark's prominence, even if this is not the truth. It's like a game of telephone gone wrong. tearing apart connections that have lasted decades.
And I think a lot of these high-level WNBA players are like just really happy that the game is in a good spot. And then obviously you've got your Cheryl Swoops of the world, who are Cheryl Swoops.
Okay, let's look at what Caitlin Clark did to cause all of this trouble. You would think she's just another rookie, but this lady isn't just good. She's breaking records left and right. And get this, she has sparked interest in women's basketball among individuals who were previously uninterested. That's right, people who couldn't tell a layup from a three-pointer are suddenly glued to their screens. But here's where things get interesting. It's more than simply her stats. Caitlin Clark is changing how people perceive women's basketball. She's making it interesting and a must-watch. It's as if she walked onto the court, waved her magic wand, and exclaimed, "Hey, look what women's basketball can be." And suddenly, everyone is paying attention.
Because Cheryl Swoops is the most vocal of the ex-players, it does make it seem like, oh, these other players are salty and stuff. And the problem is like the ones that were the most vocal, like again, Aja Wilson was the quote-unquote face of the WNBA before Caitlin Clark got there, and Aja Wilson was one of the more vocal people out against all of this stuff. So it does obviously show that narrative, but at least we're now seeing from some...
You might be asking what the big deal is, so let me break it down for you. Caitlin Clark isn't just playing basketball, she's reinventing it. Her fame has exploded on social media, and anything bearing her name is flying off the shelves faster than you can say slam dunk. It's as if she has the Midas touch, making everything she does for the WNBA pay off. But here's the kicker. Some of the old guard are scared. They're asking, what about us? What about our legacy? They witness Clark receiving so much attention, and it stirs them some difficult emotions.
I think, look, if you even asked for like Aaliyah Boston, if you asked Aaliyah Boston, why is this happening? Her answer is probably Caitlin Clark. But at the end of the day, doesn't matter why.
Now,
it's like if the previous guard worked so hard to build a house, and now Caitlin Clark has come along and completely redecorated it. However, Lisa Leslie sees it differently. They think, this is what we've been waiting for. Leslie even mentioned that Clark and her generation will not face the same issues they did. No more playing in filthy gyms or worrying about basic necessities. Clark's success isn't just about her, it's propelling the league forward and taking it to new heights.
And I think that's where the WNBA have the biggest problem, is like they're not happy that they're not getting the growth in the exact way they wanted to. Because like it's one thing to have growth, but not like you're never always going to get growth exactly how you want it.
It's as if Caitlin Clark lit a fire beneath the whole WNBA, and everyone is feeling the heat. Some are enjoying the warmth, while others are concerned about getting burned. But one thing is for certain, women's basketball will never be the same. You could believe that all of this talk about Caitlin Clark is just hype. Hold on to your basketballs, because the Indiana Fever has made a move that has everyone's jaws dropping. They didn't just sign Clark, they're building her a castle. The Fever has just revealed that they will be building a brand new cutting-edge training facility that will be not just large, but also massive.
Generation players who have now been passed the torch won't have to know what it feels like sleeping in an airport because of delay, what being told not to go 100% because the court isn't safe, what having to move out of your locker room after every season feel like, what not having proper resources and still showing up and thriving at your job feels like. All they know is professionalism, professional treatment, and I love that for them. Like, they're really not going to know what the lack of opportunity feels like.
We're talking about double the size of any other practice facility in the WNBA. Can you believe it? This isn't just a new gym with a new coat of paint, it's the Fever declaring, we're not just in the game, we're changing it. You might be asking if this is genuinely all due to Caitlin Clark. So, let's connect the dots. The Fever's management isn't just throwing money around for fun, they're making a statement that's as loud as a buzzer. They're proclaiming, we're all in on Caitlin Clark and the future of women's basketball. But here's where things get interesting. This facility is more than just Clark, it's about what she represents. A new era in women's basketball.
After the Indiana Fever announced their brand new, like, state-of-the-art, double the size of any other practice facility in the entire WNBA.
Let's break it down. Caitlin Clark isn't just adding points to the scoreboard, she's also bringing in money, publicity, and sponsors, all of which the WNBA has fought for from the beginning. And now you have this teenager compelling clubs to make unprecedented investments. It's as if she flipped a switch, and now everyone is trying to keep up. Original clip. This is more than just building a better team. The Fever management sees it as a golden ticket to the top. They aren't just wanting to compete, they want to dominate. And with this new facility, they're sending a message to all the great players out there. Come to Indiana. We're building something special here. Okay, let's discuss the future of women's basketball. You would believe Caitlin Clark is a one-hit wonder, but hold on, it's much bigger than that. We are no longer talking about simply one player. We are discussing a brand new era for the WNBA.
A really important thing to see the legends of the game. And I'm not even talking about like completely, fully, absolutely embrace Caitlin Clark, but to at least not try to ignore what she's done for the sport of basketball.
Here's when things become interesting. Lisa Leslie released a bombshell, suggesting that the younger contestants, including Caitlin Clark, will have more resources than the originals did. The game is rapidly evolving, and it isn't just about Clark. You've got Angel Reese, Paige Bookers, and a whole new generation of talent coming up. The WNBA is buzzing with excitement, but they can't forget the players that built the league from the bottom up.
But there is still another 25% for the Angel Reeses, the Cameron Brinks, the Paige Beckers, all of these players. I think those players do deserve some credit. The vast majority of the credit obviously is on Caitlin Clark, but there's definitely some credit for these other players. And I think to diminish the others, to diminish it is as just Caitlin Clark is wrong, but I also think to not acknowledge Caitlin Clark and just say, oh, it's because of all the rookies.
You might be wondering how the WNBA will handle this. So that's the million-dollar question. They're on a tightrope, attempting to propel these young stars without alienating the veterans. It's as if they're throwing in the midst of it all. Can you believe the drama? Even the legends disagree on this one. Lisa Leslie is showing some love, but others not so much. It's as if the league is torn between preserving its legacy and embracing its future.
The reality is that the sport improves at a really high rate, or the sport improves like obviously at a high enough rate. When everything improves, it becomes better for everybody. I like the fact that there are WNBA legends actually willing to credit Caitlin Clark for what she has done for the sport, because what she has done has been crazy. And to be fair, Dawn Staley did the same thing last year, Kim Mulkey did the same thing last year, but it is nice to see, because since she went into the WNBA, it is something that hasn't really happened at all.
But here's where things get really interesting. It's not just about Caitlin Clark. The entire WNBA's development story is being shaken up. You might assume it's all about the new kid on the block, but Lisa Leslie is giving reality checks, reminding everyone not to forget about those who have been propelling the league ahead. So what do you think? Is Caitlin Clark the WNBA's future revealed by her crystal ball, or is this all just a big hype train? Please share your thoughts in the comments, since this debate is far from over.